Can you hear the noise inside your head right now? The constant chatter, the endless commentary, the voice that never stops analyzing, judging, comparing, planning, worrying. It speaks so loudly that you've forgotten what silence sounds like. It moves so constantly that you've forgotten what stillness feels like. But what if this noise, this mental turbulence that you've accepted as normal, what if it's the very thing that keeps you from seeing the world as it truly is? What if the change you seek in the world begins not with action, but with silence? Not with doing, but with the profound art of not doing? Right now, in this moment, beneath all that mental noise, there is a quietness so complete, so pristine, that when you touch it, everything changes. Not because you do anything different, but because you finally see clearly what was always there. The quiet mind is not an empty mind. It's not a dull mind. It's the most awake mind possible. Alert, vibrant, completely present. And from this silence, a different world emerges. We have been taught that thinking is intelligence, that the busy mind is the productive mind, that mental noise is a sign of an active, engaged life. But look around you. Look at the world that all this thinking has created. Look at the conflicts, the anxiety, the endless seeking, the perpetual dissatisfaction. Is this the fruit of intelligence? Or is this what happens when thought runs wild, unchecked, unobserved? Your mind right now is like a radio with the volume turned all the way up, tuned to a station that plays nothing but worry, judgment, and commentary. You've been listening to the static for so long that you think it's music. You've been swimming in this noise for so long that you think it's the ocean itself. But what is thought, really? Watch it closely. See how it arises from nowhere and disappears into nowhere. See how it claims to be you. I think, therefore I am. But can you find this I that supposedly thinks? Or do you find only thoughts arising in empty space, claiming ownership of a non-existent center? Thought is time. It lives in the past, projecting into the future, never actually here. It takes the fresh immediacy of this moment and turns it into memory before you've even experienced it fully. It's constantly comparing this moment to other moments, this experience to other experiences, this feeling to how you think you should feel. When you're angry, thought says, I shouldn't be angry. When you're sad, it says, I should be happy. When you're peaceful, it says, I hope this lasts. Always one step removed from what is actually happening. Always commenting on life instead of living it. Notice how thought divides. It separates you from the world, the observer from the observed, the thinker from the thought. It creates the illusion that you are here and the world is there, that you are separate from what you experience. From this imaginary division comes all conflict, all suffering, all the desperate attempts to change the world from a position of separation. But what if you are not separate from the world? What if the observer and the observed are one movement of consciousness? What if the mind and the world are not two things, but one seamless reality appearing as two? If these reflections are stirring something deep within your understanding, consider joining our community of inquirers by subscribing for more explorations into the nature of consciousness and peace. Krishnamurti observed, "You are the world and the world is you." This is not philosophy. This is direct perception. When the mind becomes quiet, truly quiet, this artificial division dissolves. You don't become one with the world. You realize you never were separate from it. Think of a still lake at dawn. The water is so quiet that it perfectly reflects the sky, the mountains, the trees. In that reflection, where does the lake end and the world begin? They are one seamless reality. But throw a stone into the lake, create ripples, turbulence, noise, and the reflection is broken. The unity is lost. The clear seeing is gone. Your mind is this lake. Thoughts are the stones. And you've been throwing stones all your life, wondering why you can't see clearly, why you feel separate, why the world seems broken and in need of fixing. But the lake doesn't need to learn how to be still. Stillness is its nature. When the disturbance passes, silence returns naturally. The reflection becomes perfect again. The unity is restored. The mind's natural state is not noise. It's not the endless chatter you've become accustomed to. The mind's natural state is silence. Alert, aware, completely present silence. And in this silence, a miracle occurs. The world you thought you knew disappears, and the world as it actually is reveals itself. You cannot quiet the mind through effort. You cannot force silence through techniques. You cannot practice your way into peace. These very attempts to become quiet create more noise, more disturbance, more separation between the one who wants peace and peace itself. The quiet mind is not achieved. It's recognized. It's not created. It's uncovered. It's not something you do. It's what you are when you stop doing. Right now, beneath all your thinking, it's already here, waiting, available, present. But we're afraid of this silence. We're addicted to the noise. We've identified with the voice in our head so completely that we think we will disappear if it stops. We think we need our thoughts to survive, to function, to know who we are. This is the great illusion. You are not your thoughts. You are the space in which thoughts appear. You are not the noise. You are the silence that hears the noise. You are not the story. You are the awareness in which all stories arise and pass away. When this is seen, really seen, the whole game changes. You stop trying to improve your thoughts and start recognizing what you are beyond all thought. You stop trying to fix your mind and start resting as the unchanging awareness that observes all mental activity. And then, the extraordinary happens. As the mind becomes quiet, as the internal noise subsides, as the constant commentary fades, the world begins to transform. Not because you do anything to change it, but because you finally see it without the filter of thought, without the distortion of mental noise. Colors become more vivid. Sounds become clearer. The present moment reveals depths you never noticed. What seemed ordinary becomes sacred. What appeared separate reveals its interconnectedness. What felt broken shows its perfect wholeness. This is not imagination. This is not wishful thinking. This is what happens when the mind becomes still enough to perceive directly instead of through the veil of concepts, labels, and interpretations. You realize that the world was never broken. Your perception of it was distorted. You realize that peace was never missing. Your recognition of it was obscured by mental noise. You realize that wholeness was never absent. Your awareness of it was clouded by the illusion of separation. Krishnamurti spoke of this transformation. When the mind is completely still, there is no observer, no observed, only pure observation. In this state of pure observation, without the interference of thought, reality reveals itself as it is. Not as you think it should be, not as you remember it was, not as you hope it will become, but as it actually is right now. And what is it? It's alive. It's vibrant. It's intelligent. It's whole. It's perfect exactly as it is, even in its apparent imperfection. Every sound is in its right place. Every sight is exactly as it should be. Every experience is complete in itself, requiring nothing to be added, nothing to be changed. From this recognition comes a different kind of action. Not the frantic action of someone trying to fix a broken world, but the natural action that flows from wholeness. Not the effortful action of someone trying to become better, but the spontaneous action that emerges from completeness. You stop trying to change the world and start allowing the world to change through you. You stop fighting what is and start flowing with what wants to emerge. You stop forcing your agenda and start serving something greater than your personal will. This is true revolution. Not the revolution that comes from anger, resistance, or the desire to destroy what is, but the revolution that comes from clarity, love, and the recognition of what's already perfect. This revolution doesn't require violence. It doesn't require effort. It happens naturally when the mind becomes quiet enough to see clearly. Share this understanding with someone who might be ready to discover the transformative power of inner silence, for in that sharing, we contribute to the quiet revolution of consciousness itself. The quiet mind changes the world simply by seeing it clearly. And when you see clearly, you act clearly. When you act clearly, you live clearly. And when you live clearly, you become a force for clarity in a world clouded by mental noise. This is not about becoming special. This is about discovering what's ordinary in the most extraordinary sense. This is not about transcending the world. This is about finally being present in it. This is not about escaping life. This is about entering it completely, perhaps for the first time. So here you are now, at the end of these words, at the beginning of silence. What will you do with what you've heard? Will you turn it into knowledge to store? Will you make it into a technique to practice? Will you add it to your collection of spiritual concepts? The mind is so quick to capture, to possess, to turn everything into a thing it can grasp. But silence cannot be grasped. Quietude cannot be captured. The still mind cannot be possessed because you cannot possess what you already are. Right now, as these words fade, what remains? Not the ideas about silence, but silence itself. Not the concept of stillness, but the direct taste of stillness. Not the theory of a quiet mind, but the immediate recognition of what's already quiet, already still, already here. This is not a meditation to practice. This is a reality to recognize. This is not a state to achieve. This is your natural condition to return to, not through effort, but through the simple stopping of all effort to be other than what you are. The world doesn't need you to think about it differently. The world needs you to see it differently. And you cannot see clearly through the fog of mental noise. You cannot perceive truly through the filter of endless thinking. You cannot love fully while maintaining the illusion of separation that thought creates. But when the mind becomes quiet, when thought subsides, when the internal commentary stops, what emerges is not emptiness but fullness, not absence but presence, not death but the most alive aliveness possible. And from this aliveness, this presence, this clarity, right action flows naturally. Kind action, intelligent action, action that serves not just your personal agenda but the wholeness of life itself. This is how you change the world without trying to change the world. This is how you heal without being a healer. This is how you become a blessing without trying to be blessed. Simply by being what you are when the mind is quiet. Simply by seeing what is when thought is still. Simply by living from silence instead of noise. Close your eyes if you wish or keep them open. The quiet mind sees through all eyes. It hears through all ears. It beats in all hearts. It breathes through all lungs. It's not yours or mine. It's what we are when we stop pretending to be separate from it. Rest here, not as practice but as recognition. Not as something you're doing but as what you are. Let the mind be quiet, not through force but through understanding. Not through technique, but through the simple seeing that what you're seeking is what's already here. The world changes when you change. But you don't change by doing anything. You change by stopping the noise, stopping the effort, stopping the endless attempt to become what you already are. In this stopping, in this silence, in this profound quietude of mind, a new world is born. Not someday, not somewhere else. Right here, right now, in the space between these words, in the pause between your thoughts, in the silence that you are. If this exploration into the quiet mind has touched something wordless within you, we warmly invite you to subscribe and join our contemplative community. Leave a comment sharing any moments of silence that have opened in your own awareness, and consider sharing this reflection with someone who might be ready to discover that the world they seek is available in the quietude of this very moment. Together, in our collective silence, we contribute to the healing of a world that desperately needs the clarity that only the quiet mind can provide.